Hi, welcome to Waiter Nation. My name is Michael Fagan, and I'm your host. Super excited today. We have a bona fide social media star, Drew Talbert. Drew Talbert. That's true. You are, my daughter Sarah is your biggest fan. If you're in the industry, I'm sure you've seen his videos. You know his characters, Phyllis and Bob and Bridget, who is my daughter's favorite. TikTok, his channel is insanely popular, and all your videos are spread across social media. I see them all the time on my Facebook. I got familiar with your stuff and I was like, this is pretty cool. This is, as an actor, I can see all the work that goes in behind it. And then my daughter started really like, I love this guy. I love this guy.
Thank you, Sarah.
And Drew, hey, Frank, how are you? Good to hear from you. You can comment in if you're a fan of Drew's, then I'm sure you would want to hear what you think about his videos and just say hi from wherever you're at. Yeah. Drew, how are you today?
Cool. Doing very well. Thank you.
Drew's in California, Los Angeles, an actor, an improv teacher.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Teach actors and non-actors. So.
And you are currently a waiter. That's how you make your living.
Currently, no. Well, since COVID, no.
Okay.
So I've been I was splitting between, my income was pretty much divided last year equally, 3 parts acting, waiting tables, and teaching.
Okay.
And 2 of those have gone, but I've been teaching through the Groundlings, and we teach on Zoom. So I've been doing that.
So people, let me do this. If you're not familiar, well, let me share it and get a few more people in, and then I'm going to play one of your videos.
Okay.
My favorite character of yours is Bob, because I've waited on Bob. Bob is the jokester, right? Bob is the customer that is always telling you the same jokes that you hear from everybody else. Yeah. And he thinks that he is super funny.
Yeah.
And
he's the first. He's the first, he's the Henry Ford of this joke.
And his wife has no patience with him, right?
Well, yeah, I get different reactions. Like, is she just on pills, just trying to go away from this experience? Or is she dying inside? She looks like her eyes, she's pleading for help sometimes. But yeah, she's heard them all.
Let's see the video.
Hands up. This is the purchase. All right, can I start you with the cocktail tonight? Oh, I don't know. Looks like your bartender has a case of Corona. All right. Drinks, though? You know what? I actually will have a Corona. No virus. Where does he come up with these? They just come to me. He gets them off Facebook.
Excellent. I love it.
Phyllis for the win there. Yeah, she gets him at the end.
I also I have the one of Bradley Cooper. I've seen it 50 times. I crack up every time. we'll wait to 20 minutes or something. We'll talk a little bit, and then I'll show the Bradley Cooper video. But you do every single character in your skits.
Yeah.
And I would, when people ask me about it, I'm like, imagine if Saturday Night Live did a funny skit about being a waiter. That's what he does, except he's all the characters. That's how I envision it. I think it's pretty cool like that. So in the beginning, how long have you been doing these videos?
So I got on TikTok, kind of like you mentioned earlier before we went on air. Sarah got on when the lockdown started, the pandemic started. That's the same story with me. I got on because my wife got on around that time. And I had an idea of TikTok as being just, 9-year-old to 16-year-olds dancing. And so that didn't fit my taste or demographics. So I wasn't on it. And I kept looking over my wife's shoulder, Andrea is her name. And I would see really funny sketches, funny bits and some cool tutorials, cooking stuff, financial gurus, all this cool stuff. And I'm like, oh, TikTok's way more than what I thought. So I downloaded it and I would just upload little silly ideas. And then I had an idea for a TikTok about being a waiter because I had so much. I have 23 years waiting tables And so it was this idea of like when the parents make you stand there while they get the kid to say thank you.
Yes, I've seen that one.
And the kid won't say thank you. So you're just like stuck there.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, he'll say it. And so you're just like, okay. And you have like 5 other things to do. So I just wanted to do that idea and then move on to other things. And it blew up on TikTok. A lot of views and likes and stuff. So I'm like, oh, you guys like this? Because I got a million of these.
Right.
And I played the part of the mom and the kid too, because it's COVID and I can't get my other actors to come over. I have actor friends that, that are hilarious. And I asked my wife early on if she wanted to be in a couple of them, and she was like, "No, just do it." So I just did them because my wife is a great actor too, and I might bring her in eventually. But I just started them out of necessity, doing all the parts. And TikTok, you want to upload a lot, and so I it's just convenience and necessity. I'm playing all the parts, doing them, shooting them all in my room, using this room divider as a background, and that's how it started. So I just started focusing on the waiter niche.
I saw your behind the scenes, how you set up, and I can appreciate it because I've torn my whole living room apart and put up lights and backdrops and different things over the years. So I can appreciate, at the end of the day, your room's a mess and you're like, I'm exhausted from filming this, and then you got to put it all away. But it's amazing. I'm always interested in the creative process because like it was out of necessity. You're like, okay, I'm going to have to do all these parts. And then you said, now you have improv experience, which just is like, so you're not nervous about it. But always in the beginning, you're like, oh my God, what are they going to say when they see this video? Like your material is always unproven until it goes out in the world. And then you're like, oh boy, like it's always a nervous feeling once it goes out. And then you go and you say, well, I'm going to wear some wigs and I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to do all this.
Yeah.
Where are the wigs, like where you work? Is there a wardrobe and there's some wigs available?
So the Groundlings, I mentioned it. It's where Kristen Wiig, Will Ferrell, Melissa McCarthy, you want to go back, Phil Hartman. It's been around for over 40 years. Okay. It's an improv sketch school in Hollywood. That's where all those people I mentioned came from. So it's a hotbed for like sketch and improv talent, that SNL type talent.
Right.
And I started taking classes there in like 2009, went through the whole program, started performing, and then ultimately teaching there. So that's kind of my little home base in LA. And yes, we use wigs there. So like, after you learn improv, which is no wigs, it's improv, you're making things up on the spot, so you don't have the props and all that. Then you learn how to write and perform sketches, which is where you get into costuming, wigs, and you play all these characters. The Groundling style is character-based, so we learn how to play all these different characters there. So what I'm doing is not like completely unique. If you know the Groundlings, you know that that's what we do. We play all these characters. So I had characters that I'd been playing on stage for years. And some of them I use a version of for some of these characters that you're seeing in the TikTok. So when TikTok happened and I started doing these, it was like all my little worlds came together of the waiter experience, the improv experience. I had a bag full of wigs, and some time, because before the pandemic, quite frankly, I was working 3 jobs and, we have a 1.5-year-old and I didn't have time. So everything came together and allowed me time and to use the experiences I had.
Yeah. And then are you talking these ideas over with your fellow actors and say, hey, I got this, or do you do it like silent? Are you looking for input from them or?
So my main source of feedback is my wife, who's a talented writer, director, and actor too. But so I bounced the idea off of her, and we start giggling about one. I'm like, okay, I think this is fun, and then I'll shoot it, or I'll write it rather quickly, and I'll run it by her. And she's like, yeah, I like that, or maybe change that, and then I shoot it, and then I edit it. Because I use Adobe Premiere and After Effects, and I edit it. And then I'll show her that. and then she gives me great notes. She's just brutal with her notes.
I
That's
know.
one of the things I love about her. She doesn't spare my feelings. She's just like, that's not funny, or that's too long, or cut that, or change that. I'll be like, I have to reshoot if you change that. She's like, so? And so she'll send me back. So I have to run it by her, and then we come to an agreement, and then there it is. So she's my main feedback. Now, I did recently ask my Instagram followers, because Instagram is like, I feel like it's 80% waiters, servers, because Server Life shared one of my videos, and it kind of sparked a lot of following on Instagram for me, and they're just in the food service business. Right. So a week ago, I asked them in an Instagram story, I said, give me your COVID related waiting stories, because I haven't been doing it. And so the one you just watched that you showed them was based off some suggestions of jokes that they're all hearing, because I haven't experienced. But the first two versions of that sketch were things I had experienced, but that one I wrote with, if you will, my friends on Instagram, these other waiters and servers. So I get feedback from them, and people message me. I'm sure people watching right now that are in the food service business, servers, waiters, maybe you're having an idea, you can definitely send them to me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll read them. And sometimes I'm like, oh, or what, another place, Michael, is in the comments, on my TikToks or Instagram. When I post a video, sometimes in the comments, someone will say something that I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. That's great. And I want to make a video just because
you have to write it down like a comic. Like, I got to write my ideas down, because by tomorrow when I wake up, I'll forget about them.
I have an iPhone, and in the notes, I started putting my TikTok ideas in there, and now I have to scroll like this to get to the bottom of it. It's just like full of them.
Well, TikTok, it's funny with social media, because you can be struggling on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and be like, well, I'm not really picking up many followers. Boom, you hit TikTok, 6 million likes. Or the other way around. You're doing something on TikTok that might not work for that audience, and then Facebook blows up on you. So it definitely, if you're struggling in one area or the other, it makes a lot of sense to just try everything out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I tried for 2018. I did a YouTube channel and was very dedicated, like a video a week for almost a year, and could not get any traction. And it was not waiter related. I was experimenting with this other character, and it just didn't connect with people. Right. There was no real relatability. It was kind of weird, and I was trying, and I thought it was funny, but even looking back at it now, I'm like, oh, I was learning. That was my my Facebook, education.
YouTube is so hard, because really what you're doing is you're using clickbait titles, and then you're trying to link up with other popular links, and there's you don't start with anybody. You just start with it's like a podcast. You start with at least Facebook or something. You can start with some friends and people can see you. But YouTube, for me too, it's very difficult. It's a few thousand views, but you need it, so I can copy the link and send it to people. I always send the YouTube to everybody, and then it just comes up on Google.
Right.
Right.
That's true. It's easier to share, and everybody can access it, even if they don't have the social media sites.
Right. So you've been a waiter for 23 years, always in California, or have you waited other places?
Nashville, Tennessee, which is where I'm from.
Okay. I hear in your characters a little bit of the Southern accent, and I thought that you were just improv and like putting that in. So that comes fairly easy to you.
Oh yeah, I got a Southern accent. I can lay it on thick. No, yeah.
Did you have to lose it when you went to California and started acting?
I didn't intentionally I think it's more subconscious. Also, I don't know if you're like me, and a lot of servers out there probably can relate to this. You change the way you talk a little bit from table to table. Yep. Like, I don't even think about it. But if I'm waiting on people that are very Southern, I find it comes out a little more. And as an actor, I think it's also natural, because as an actor, you're playing other characters. So you get used to your voice kind of being a little more malleable. But I'll always have a little Southern thing going on, but it's definitely gone away more and more. Like, I've lived in LA for so long now, but it's there. It's definitely there.
I saw you did one video where you were talking about waiting on celebrities.
Yes.
And have you waited on, being in California, LA, do you wait on celebrities quite often?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Do you?
in Nashville too. If you think
Really?
about it, I mean, like,
Yeah.
and yeah. I over the years I've waited in a restaurant in Malibu, which was right next to the Malibu Colony, which is this exclusive gated community that has houses where heads of studios live and
Right.
A-list actors, and literally we're probably the closest restaurant to them. So like that was when I first moved there, and it would be like a daily spot for people like John Cusack, and Anthony Hopkins came in there, and I mentioned Pamela Anderson. In fact, this
Mhm.
was when she was just coming off Baywatch, so it was like a little bit bigger of a deal. But
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler was a regular, and so yeah, on a daily basis there, I would see 1 to 3 big celebrities, like, and then Nashville, same thing. I mean, it was like in one restaurant I worked there was very fine dining, and it was in a historic hotel that everyone stays at. I mean, everyone from Michael Jordan to, politicians stay at the Hermitage Hotel in Nashville. It's the only 5 diamond hotel in Tennessee or any state that touches Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a restaurant in there that had Sean Brock as the chef, who then went on to South Carolina. But I worked there, and I would see, that's where I mentioned Alan Rickman, and because the mouse ran through the floor. But but there'd be politicians, and then you'd see like Dolly Parton over there, and the lead singer to Radiohead at this table, and all at the same night. So
right.
Yeah.
So when you're working in Malibu in that restaurant, I'm imagining the money in that restaurant's pretty good, right? Yeah, stars
Money?
coming in. The money must be ridiculous as a waiter.
Well, the one in Malibu was a real low key, like breakfast, lunch, dinner spot that closed at 9 p.m. And so you'd work lunches or brunches and quick dinners.
Mhm.
And as in terms of like ticket items, it was rather low. It was meant to be, it was like a nice version of a diner in a way,
Right.
So, but they had like a healthy bent to it. So you get all these people, but their bills were not that much. That's why it was like their daily spot. John Cusack would literally roll out of bed, walk in there, sit at the deli bar with his hair disheveled, like he just literally woke up and threw on a t-shirt and just eat breakfast every day. So it was that kind of place. So it was like you didn't make a ton there. I've made more other places for sure, but
It's always cool when you see I've waited on a lot of them I live in Atlantic City, so there's a lot of shows coming in. There's a lot of, the casinos, they cater to them. So, and I've been here an awful long time. So over the years, I've waited on a lot of them. And it's always cool I mean, especially people that you grew up and you're watching them on TV, and then you actually see them in person, and then they're eating breakfast, and you're like, oh, they are a real person. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Last time Bob Saget was in my restaurant, and managers will come out and they'll say, hey, I don't want anybody to tell anybody. Don't tell your customers. Don't go bother them. Like, we get this.
Right.
So I had these young girls at my table, and they were just out, and it was late, and they were having fun. And I was like, listen, I'm going to tell you something. You can't do anything. You can't do anything. And they were like, yeah, okay. And I said, all right. And they looked like they grew up on Full House. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're in their 20s. So, and I was like, you see the guy over there? That's Bob Saget. And the girl got up and screamed and ran over and got a selfie and hugged him. I ran to the kitchen. I didn't get in trouble, but
like I didn't have anything to do with this. She saw him on her own. Yeah.
That teaches you don't trust the customer.
I know you have this little secret, and you're like, oh, these people are fun. I like them. I'll just whisper it. You never know how they're gonna.
Definitely.
I've seen some crazy stuff, though. I have seen some crazy stuff. I won't even. The craziest thing I saw. I want to make a video about it, but honestly, I fear for my life if I did. So I'll just mention it in live things like this, and I'm not even going to say their names, but I'll just let people's imagination. But it's 2 very well-known hip hop stars came in and got into a fight like you would imagine, like you've all seen in action movies in our restaurant on a Saturday night at like 7 p.m. Their Bentley pulled up in the middle of Ventura Boulevard. One of them gets out, comes in, is at the bar with some entourage, and then the other one gets out, comes in. They get into an altercation. Something had been going on in the car, and the physically larger one picks up the other one, I remember, and by the neck, drags him all the way down the patio area and body slams him through a table where a party of 6 was just a family was having dinner. And it was all on the cameras, and we were in the back watching it over and over. And like TMZ called us because someone said something, and like, but I'd never been more like jaw on the floor than that moment. It was, and people were all standing up and look. It was it was insane. That's the craziest thing I've seen involving celebrities for sure.
I've never seen a celebrity fight. I did have a fight in one of my restaurants one time, and my partner was a bouncer at a bar. That's what he did afterwards. And he dragged the guy out in the full Nelson. Same thing, like straight across the
wow,
like that. But it would have been cooler if they were rap stars. It definitely would have been cooler if that was the case.
That's what made this so crazy. We were like, is this real? Oh, man.
So your acting career as you're coming up is right now has to be a fun time because you're getting a lot of feedback, especially through TikTok, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is very gratifying to have people, see your stuff because I've been at it for a long time and I've had some little successes here and there, but I've never had my own content that I've created because I've made several attempts over the years at different avenues of this. I've never had one blow up like this, where so many people are able to just see what I do. So that's been great. As far as like other acting, there she is.
This is your biggest fan, Drew. How are you?
Oh my God.
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Oh my God. I love all your videos. You're awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Your favorite, you love Bridget the most is what you told me,
right,
Sarah?
Oh my God. She's great. Yeah.
Bridget is great. Who wouldn't want to work with Bridget? I mean, she'll take your shift. She's always positive. She's always down to sing happy birthday.
She's very bubbly.
Very bubbly.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
What do you do in Pennsylvania, Sarah?
I'm a waitress at like a fine dining restaurant.
Okay.
And I've been serving for like almost 10 years now. So I relate to like every single one of your videos. It gives me a great laugh after work after a hard day.
That's good. Cool. That's actually my favorite thing to hear. I've had people comment that I've made them feel better after a hard shift or something, or they'll watch something before they walk into work, and that makes me very happy to hear. Yeah. So.
It's nice to know that it's relatable.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, our tough nights that we're having, like you have an awful night and then you go home and you see one of Drew's videos and you're like, well, I guess everybody's having this hard night.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not the only one with Bob sitting down making Corona jokes. And
you're not alone. That's right.
Those are the best.
Are you serving during this time, Sarah?
Yeah, I just went back, I think in end of April, June.
Okay.
But we're outside, so.
Yep. Is it hot?
Oh, it's so hot. I wear a bow tie, the same thing that you wear in your videos. I'm all dressed up.
The heat. That's what I hear from so many servers right now, because a lot of them are used to being inside and they're setting up makeshift patio areas in the heat. And are you getting any of these people say, could you do something about the temperature?
What was it?
I get waiters and servers saying they're serving people in the heat on these patios, and the customers are like, can you do something about the heat?
Right. Or they tell me it's too cold, and I'm like, dude, I'm outside right now, and I'm running around like a crazy person. The heat's not going on.
I wanted to do a video about that on the patio, and someone's like, could you do something about the heat? And I would just reach like this, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm turning down the sun.
Yeah.
What do you? This is the switch here. I'm just let me get that for you. How's that? A little more?
Is any better?
I hear a lot of people on websites too. They talk about the bugs. They're like, it's too buggy out here. Can you do something about the bugs? And it's like, again, we're outside.
We're outside. That's right.
We're in your world.
My customers are bringing bug spray with them.
Ooh. That's that adds a nice bit to the ambiance. Yeah.
Right.
Sarah, you have to go to work tonight?
Yeah, I have to go in tonight.
Well, you have good stories to tell. You saw your buddy here on TikTok.
That's right.
I was so nervous to come on and say hi to you because
Oh,
you're like my
please.
biggest fan.
Yeah.
I talk about you all the time.
That's great. Well, I appreciate that. I do.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna in like 15 minutes. I'm gonna show the Bradley Cooper video, Sarah, because that one cracks me up.
Oh, it's great. I was literally just telling my dad, like, I was like, these guys at a creepy table were just telling me, like, can you just like pull your mask down for me for a second, like, so I can just see your smile. And then then that night I saw your video of Bradley Cooper, and I was like, it's a real thing.
I did one a couple nights ago about creepy customers asking women.
Oh
to do
my
that.
God, with the in your face.
He's like, "Come on, sweetheart," and she's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And I tried to make a really disgusting face, whatever.
He was like, "I'll just have the steak."
But I asked on Instagram, and all these waitresses, female servers, sent that to me. Like 7 or 8 of them were like, "Guys are doing this." So I was like, I had to do it. It's so weird to me. Like it's not weird. I'll be completely honest. I've been in this business long enough to know, but like, it's still like, it still blows me away.
Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Sarah, I'm glad that you had the courage to come in and talk to us for a couple minutes.
Thanks. I'm so excited to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Sarah, bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah, I told you it's serious, and I thought that you'd like that too, because I'm sure that, there's many Sarahs out there that are going home after a long night and taking a look at your videos and cracking up. That's why I was saying, most of my videos, I had one video that was really successful with 1 million views, and my phone went crazy for like 2 months. So your phone, you must not get any sleep. You must have to turn all your notifications off, right?
I don't have notifications for TikTok on, no.
Okay.
And Instagram, there's like notifications that are silent that pop up.
Yes.
But I don't have notifications on for Facebook or TikTok or YouTube. Because I go on there and check anyway. But yeah, I'm a no notifications guy for the most part.
But you get back to all your fans too, though. I've seen your videos, and if somebody says, "Hey, I think this was hilarious," you'll get back and say, "Hey, that's real nice of you. Thanks so much." Right?
Oh, I try to as much as I possibly can, because I genuinely appreciate it. I've like I said, I've been at this for a while, and this is the first time I've experienced this kind of exposure, and I'm just very grateful. And I don't take anything for granted, And the second part of it is just I feel like I'm, I want to build a community. I want to build like a friendship. I want to build that kind of vibe where people feel like we're all just kind of in this together. I teach, character work to some of my students, and I tell them the thing that makes these characters work is relatability. If your character is relatable, if people watching relate, and what that does, the thing that's so nice about comedy, without getting too deep, but it's not just a laugh. When you're laughing, it's this catharsis of like, you feel less alone in the universe, you feel less alone in the world, because someone up there showed you something that you recognize. And like you were saying with like Bob, we all had that guy as a customer. It makes you feel less alone. And that's the power of comedy. And that's why you need to I tell my students to make your characters not too jokey and like fake. Try to make them believable, because you're doing a favor. You're connecting with people. And I love that.
I like what you do. I do it too. A lot of the restaurant sites are in a negative way. It's a lot of complaining. Everybody, I got a bad tip. I got a bad customer. My manager's a jerk. And yeah, that's true. A lot of that is true. But I never went that way. I always wanted to show the positive side. And I told you're talking about this pain in the butt customer, but you're doing it in a nice way. You're saying like, hey, this is funny. We're just laughing all together at this. It's not negative. And I like that side of what you do.
Yeah, and I don't hate Bob or anybody.
No.
Any guy who comes in and makes those jokes, I'd much rather have Bob and Phyllis at my table making these jokes than I would a guy who just hates life and he's taking it out on me.
Yeah.
So, and I think people feel that when they watch the video. It's like there's no I try to not have a tone of being of despising or jaded or bitter or anything like that. I hope the tone is always, like you say, we're laughing together at this.
Yeah,
Even
because
if it is a pet peeve, it's
even the real Bob is watching your video. He doesn't think it's him. He's like, oh, can you imagine people are like that in restaurants? Has no idea.
Yeah, that's right.
That's him. You know,
You'd have to sit him down, look at me, Bob.
Yeah.
You make that joke.
Right.
That's you. And he'd be like, oh. And then I think, I actually told my wife I wanted to make a video where he's like, been told about this TikTok channel. And he comes in and I'm like, oh, hey, Bob Phillips, good to see you again. And he's like real sad. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, he found your TikTok channel and thinks you're making fun of him. And I'm like, oh. And then I have to tell him, no, I like it. And he's like, you sure? And I cheer him up. So then he like makes another one. But I haven't made that. Maybe I'll make that one.
It's cool, the creative process, how you're like, oh, I got a little idea. Now I got to fill 30 seconds and I can't do it for 5 minutes. I got to put it all in and I got to put these little pieces, right?
Yeah. Well, TikTok's limit is a minute.
Yeah.
And now I have YouTube too. So I have a few on there that are a little longer. And I ultimately want to make longer ones and then chop them up maybe for TikTok. But up to this point, I've been focusing on TikTok as far as length. So yeah, they have to be under a minute. And TikTok actually rewards you for, without getting too technical about the algorithm, but shorter videos go further as far as their reach because they really prioritize watch time. So like they want a high percentage of watch time. So if your video is 58 seconds,
right,
and over time people check out on it enough and the average goes down to like 55-60%, it gets buried. But if it's like a 30-second video and people are watching on average like 25 seconds of it, your watch time's up above 85%, it'll get a wider spread. So I really struggle with that because as you've seen watching mine, I like that minute length. And so I'm willing to sacrifice the spread of it sometimes because the idea needs to be that long. And then I try to mix in shorter ones too, just so that they'll get a better,
Well, that's the creative, that when you're come up with content, whether you're on stage or you're writing something or performing, you got to grab them in the beginning. So you got to have something. You can't start slow. You'll miss. Nobody will stay for the punchline.
Yeah.
So you got to get them you got to keep them interested in the middle, and then you got to have it pay off at the end.
Yeah.
So there's always that. Even in 30 seconds, you gotta think.
Oh yeah.
How,
you have 3 seconds, right? At the beginning to get them.
Right. So how can social media or a platform like this, is this important for what you do? If you went to an audition, are they asking, Instagram followers, social media followers?
I have heard that. The thing is, production's all shut down. They're doing they're starting to open a little bit more, but there's just nothing. There's no auditions. I mean, I have a friend who's makes a very good living as an actor, and even I think he's had like 2 since this all happened. 2 auditions. So for someone like me who struggles more, I'm not seeing any opportunities. I've had some voiceover opportunities that I've done and that kind of thing, but it's yet to be seen how what I've got, because all this has happened, Michael, since the COVID thing started. So I don't really know the answer to that yet. Okay. I have heard that can help with certain projects where that matters to them. Certain casting directors do think, but most casting directors that I've heard there's a podcast or 2 I've listened to, and they've interviewed casting directors, and most of them seem to think that's not as big a deal as people think. It's very few. There might be a project where they're going to put the project out on the internet, right? And they want people that have like huge followings just to give them an instant audience. But most like TV, film, and that kind of thing, I don't think it's as big a deal as them getting just the right actor.
I hear it a lot with people that want to be a model, and especially if they're going to, sell a product, then they want that person on Instagram with 100,000 followers to also sell the product and post all their pictures there. I didn't know how it worked in acting.
I have brands reach out to me, as far as like Instagram, TikTok, to like use their product and that kind of thing. I'm looking into that now more. But as far as acting, I think most projects they're going to want just the best actor.
Well, the whole trick with social media is if you get eyes, you can monetize it, right? And you say, well, look, I get 1 million people. I can get 2 million people next month. What's the, like those are a lot of eyes. What do you want to sell?
Yeah, exactly. No, I definitely am interested in expanding this out until I could use it for income for sure.
Yeah, definitely the dream. And a lot of people think that if you're trying to be an actor, the dream is you just want to be famous and drive the Bentley, but I think most of us want to work and make a living doing it.
Yeah, and do something that we love. Yeah.
Right. Like if you wake up every morning and do this, create content, go to an audition, book a gig here and there, and nobody knows your name, but you're making a nice living and you're getting to do it. Like that's the dream for me.
That
right?
is, I very much relate to that. I'm a family first guy, and small circle of friends. It's about my wife and my kid and my family, and I want the best for them. And however I can do that is great. I just happen to have a passion for performing and writing, and so the more I can marry those two together, the better.
Yeah, it does. It gives you, it's that whole sense of purpose and goals and moving forward, being creative. And then that's your thing. That's how you get fulfilled during the day. And then you can do everything so you don't fall into a rut. How do like the other waiters that you're working with, they know what you're doing, right? They see your TikToks and
yeah. I've had several of them reach out to me and, that I've worked with. And there's someone that commented, I shared your post about having me on Facebook.
Yes.
And there's Doug Livingston commented on that. I forgot we were on Facebook together. And he was a manager in Nashville at the Green Hills Grill I was at. I don't know if he's watching now, but he was one of my favorite managers. And so it's fun to see like even people I worked with years and years ago kind of being like, oh, hey, and just reconnecting with them. But because, think of how many people we've worked with.
Oh, yeah.
Over the years,
But I think the thing with us in our business, and I talk about it a lot, is that there's always a bond. Because if you worked and you struggled and you worked Christmas Eve night with a guy and got in the weeds real bad, you and him are friends forever.
That's right. It's war. Yeah, that's right.
My friend says that we're bonded by trauma. That's what my one buddy Xavier always says. He says we're bonded by trauma. We'll always be friends even if we don't talk because we're bonded by the similar trauma.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How long will it take you to make one video?
It depends. So the ones that are easier, meaning as far as like setup and all that, usually I can shoot in an hour and a half to ish. Like if it's just me as the waiter and a couple of characters, I can usually shoot those in like an hour and a half. And then it takes me about that long to edit. So like around 3 hours or so. And then on top of that, to prepare them for YouTube and the other platforms, I have to painstakingly add like subtitles that I type out myself and do all this stuff to add on another couple hours. So maybe 5 altogether. And then like the harder ones where I play a lot of characters and I use green screen to like
happy birthday
happy birthday
singers.
I have to set up green screen. I have to like it's a lot harder to position myself as all the different characters, and then the editing process is a lot harder. Those can take days. We're talking like 3 days, hours and hours of work. And if the idea is good, if it's something I really want to share, I'll do it. But it is nice sometimes to be able to do like the easier ones. I'll do I posted a silly one today. If you go to check TikTok, I don't usually do the TikTok trends, but there's this song on TikTok going around that just is like so ridiculous. Do you remember when the internet got traction? There was something called the hamster dance.
It sounds familiar. I can't remember the tune.
It was the first viral thing I remember. It was like this ridiculous, it was like animated hamsters, and it was like catchy song that got into your head and you couldn't get rid of it, and it got spread around. There's something like that on TikTok now with this weird sounding sound. Like it's a song in a different language, maybe Russian I'm hearing, but it's really like gets in your head. It's like you just keep watching it on a loop. People are making their version of it. So I did a waiter version of that, and it's ridiculous, but it makes me laugh. That one took like an hour, because it was just really quick and it just they're out there. But most of them are like 5 hours, or the harder ones are like maybe 20, 30 hours.
How about your song at the end? I'm tired of waiting. Is that a real song, or did you make that song?
No, that's a real song.
Okay.
Holloman, I think, is the artist, and so I have a monthly subscription to Epidemic Sound.
Yes.
Which allows you. Do you know? This
I know
one?
what you mean. Yeah.
And they allow me to use their music on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I had to write them, and they gave me permission for TikTok, but so I have their whole catalog available. I can use in any of those platforms, and I pay a monthly fee.
Perfect song. Perfect song at the end.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
I
came across it. I was like, oh no, this is great. Yeah.
Because he's tired of waiting for his girlfriend or something like that. But
Yeah.
your clip that you're using is just perfect. That you're tired of waiting at the end of the year.
I agree. It did work out well. I think I credit in the YouTube in the description.
Okay.
If anybody's watching and they want to
Because
check
it sounded familiar, and then I was like, oh, maybe he just made that up. I'm going to show the Bradley Cooper video. It takes me a second to bring it in.
Sure.
Let me see if it's in. It's in.
I see it. It's small, but I see it.
Yeah, because this is right from TikTok, so it doesn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Come up, but let's make it big.
Everything's in the bag. I put the fries on top. Okay. Have a great night. Thank you.
Hey,
Oh, did I forget the ranch?
I just want to take another look at you.
Yeah.
That I can appreciate you're doing it by yourself in a room, which like it looks so good and it looks so real, and that little thing at the end that you just like shake your head. That's the difference between an amateur and a professional, like as far as performing to me. And I think what a lot of people might not understand is you're acting in front of your phone.
Yeah.
And then you go sit in the chair and you put the phone the other way and you're acting this way. And then you look at Bob and that's you looking this way. So when it's edited together, the magic's always in the editing, but the performance level behind it has to be good. And you have to, you're just in your living room pretending. And sometimes it can feel like so fake that you can't get through the skit.
Yeah. I think what happens is like as you do it more and more, and I start doing these repeated characters. Yeah. Now that I've done like 5 episodes that include Phyllis, for instance, I'm getting so used to her as a character. I know how she thinks and talks and all this. When I'm playing the other part and I'm looking at Phyllis in my mind to a point it's starting to feel more real. But yeah, there is something about getting used to you have to pick a spot that you're looking at, and you have to, and I think it's from acting and doing auditions and taping auditions, like self-tapes. Yep. And even at Groundlings, like we would do these monologues and they would tell you, you have to imagine you're talking to a real person. You can't just do a monologue to the world. To get those real emotions, like you were talking about, like you have to be talking to a real person and believe it. And then hopefully you'll find those little nice moments that you saw at the end of the Bradley Cooper one, just by you really believing you're in that moment, and little happy little things come out of that. Hopefully.
Yeah. But how many will you do retakes and be like, oh, I don't like that? Or
that's the nice thing about, just your phone and some lights and you're in your room and, you don't want it to take too long, but you can just take as many times as you want. There's no crew, watching you. You're not running out of film. You're just So you just do it, watch it immediately, and be like, oh, and then do it again, or I'll just let it go and I'll do like 5 in a row while the phone's going until I really get in the mode of it. Flip it around, do the other characters, and then flipping the characters, I might think of a better thing now for the original characters, so I might have to flip back based off of what I did with them. Or after I've shot one, now that I know what this person's saying, playing the other characters, I can be a little more natural because I know how they said something and how it would affect them. And
it is a painstaking process to, to put 30 seconds or 2 minutes together with all the change cameras and the editing behind it. But that's what I feel a lot of times that I'm pretending, and especially if I'm on location and I'm in a restaurant or I'm interviewing people, I think somebody's going to come in here in a second and tell me, what do you think you're doing? You're just pretending over here. Get out. But that's the whole game. Right?
That's right. Yeah. Are you crazy?
Yeah. But I always think somebody's going to figure me out sooner or later and tell me that, I'm breaking over here.
I do feel constantly on the edge of insanity. That's for sure.
I had a comedian on from Las Vegas last week, and he said, "Yeah, I have voices running through my head all day. On stage, 2 voices. Off stage, 5 voices. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I'm always on, always writing, always, And he said, it's how I'm wired, and that's why I do what I do."
Yes. Yeah, you have to.
So right now, you're not working at all. You're not working on a patio. You're not, at least in the restaurant. I mean,
no, not right now. Not since March.
Me
12th,
too.
Maybe.
I have a restaurant that is indoor dining only. We don't have a patio, so it can't open up. And we're not even allowed in New Jersey. We're not allowed to. Indoor dining isn't allowed. We're only patio so far.
Same in LA right now. They've actually allowed restaurants that don't have a patio to use sidewalk or back parking areas for restaurants. And they can even use the parking spots out in front of the restaurant, and the city is providing cement barricades and stuff to keep customers safe, so that more restaurants who don't have patios can have a patio. So there's all these little makeshift tinted patios now in LA.
Right. What else is on your mind this morning?
Let's see. I don't know. I have a few ideas I'm playing around with. I want to do another in a series of these because I'm not working during COVID. I asked all these servers on Instagram, I said, send me your stories and I want to make the videos that you wrote. And so the one we were talking to your daughter, Sarah, about where the creepy customers asking the female customers to take the mask off to see their face. I made that one. And then I just did the one you showed the audience at the beginning of this about all the jokes. But I want to do at least another one in that series. I want to kind of make fun of the way people are wearing masks and handling that. I've had some really funny suggestions come in about that, about some homemade masks and just the way people are relating to the mask thing. I just have to do it in a way that's not political. It keeps it light and fun. But I'm kind of playing around with that idea. I have a lot of different ideas. I want to do more long form stuff too, like I said, for YouTube. I want to take these characters. People are kind of getting to know Phyllis and Martha, Bridget, and I did a poll on YouTube. People kind of want to see them maybe outside of the restaurant, so I might do like Martha doing like a little cooking show, or Phyllis. I did one with Phyllis begging waiters to stop laughing at her husband's jokes from home. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did see that one. Yeah.
So I might do more.
Please don't laugh at my husband's joke.
Please stop. Yeah.
And then he comes in at the end and he says, let's go out to dinner.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, great. Yeah. She knows what's coming.
Yeah.
So maybe that. And other than that, personally, I'm just like itching to get my kid around other kids. He's a year and a half and this development time, it's been amazing getting to spend so much time with him, but like I just want him to be around other kids.
Yeah, it's scary. It's you just take them outside and go for walks, go to the park, let them see. Those people over there, you'll end up playing with them one day. You just can't play.
That's right.
You can't play with them today, but one day you'll end up playing with them over there.
Yeah, exactly. These are people. These are people that are not our family. They have lives too, and you'll meet them one day. Yeah.
Right. So my waiter claim to fame, it's a video called "So God Made a Waiter." So if you get a chance, take a look at it. That's my million view video.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's because it's about everybody else. It's not about me. And I was happy. Like, I've heard comments from all over the world. I'm sure you have too. So that was really good. If you get a minute, you could just Google it. It'll come up somewhere.
I'll do it immediately after that. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Listen, total pleasure talking to you today. You didn't have to come on here. You got 6 million views. I have a humble show. I'm a waiter in Atlantic City, and I was surprised that you said yes, and I was very grateful that you said yes, and I really appreciate it. I enjoyed the heck out of talking to you today.
No, I appreciate you having me on. I think it's great what you're doing. I really like the positive take you have on all this. I think you sound like a great guy, and it was a pleasure to come on here. Like I said, I'm all about building this community, so
perfect.
I think it's great. Yeah,
I appreciate it. I'm going to end the podcast. I hope if you're watching and you like, you share. And
yeah. Also, I have a Facebook page for these. I'm put on too. If you're on Facebook. I
put a couple links. I put your Facebook.
You
I think I put your Instagram, and I think I put a YouTube in the descriptions in this video here.
Okay.
I preloaded it, so you can find Drew, and your name's all over this video. So you can find Drew just through those descriptions, and then look through. And then if you have TikTok, just go into Drew Talbert. I think smart thing, you use your name. You didn't say like the waiter videos, because as far as being an actor, self-branding. Because people won't, they might say, "Oh, you're the funny waiter now," but maybe in 6 months they'll be saying, like, "Do you know that guy Drew?" And I think that's smart. You know what I mean? Because, some things happen by accident,
smart
right?
Guy. Yeah,
yeah.
I love taking credit for being smart.
Thanks so much for watching.